Hey, I'm Luna, I'm a top 500 support player, and here are 5 underrated Moira tips in hopefully under 5 minutes. Let's get started. So my first tip would be to always throw one of Moira's orbs before you use a coalescence, because an orb cooldown is 10 seconds and the coal lasts for 8 seconds. So if you throw an orb at the beginning, heal or damage, I usually go for heal, it is the better orb in general. You can animation cancel the coalescence, and then you get to the end of the coal and you've got essentially your orbs back off of cooldown to go again. It's free extra output, and you should do this pretty much every time you have the orb available. So my second tip stems from a mistake I see lots of Moira players make, and that's using the fade ability for like not much value or for mobility. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously you get a burst of speed and you can use the fade to bounce off objects and get some high ground. I'll touch on that a bit later, but the main reason you pick Moira is for her survivability and her, ability to stay alive during team fights over someone like Ana. And that stems from having your fade ability ready when you need it. When you get dived in the backline, you have to have that fade ability so you can get out and live and keep your team alive. That is the number one reason you pick Moira. Most of the time is to stay alive, and you have to have your fade for when you get dived. So stop using it to just like roll out of spawn or just randomly because you're bored. Hang on to your fade and make sure you have it for when you get dived. You will win more games if you do this, I promise. So my third tip is touching on what I just mentioned about using your fade. You can use it to bounce off objects and get high ground. This is like really strong if you learn strong spots on maps where you can roll out and get some good high ground. You want to make sure that if you are doing this, that you're doing it in sort of the fight downtime, so you're not just like rolling out into their backline mid-fight. Like, I don't want to see any of you doing any backline Moira plays, okay? Sometimes it works, but just play safe and use your fade to get some high ground in down fights and make sure that you have the fade available for when a team fight actually breaks out, but you can still use the fade to get high ground or chase targets towards the end of a fight as well. CarQ, I think, has done a great video on a bunch of Moira rollout spots, so I'll link that in the description below. I'm sure you guys all know CarQ. And yeah, I recommend giving that a watch and try and learn some of those rollouts. So my fourth tip is kind of like a little hack for Moira. It's basically a way you can regenerate your heal a bit faster. And instead of holding right click or whichever button you use to damage someone on Moira, instead of holding it down, you just tap it. Tap it as fast as you can, and each tap will increase your heal resource by like 1 tick. You know how it goes up in ticks. So if you want to regen your heal faster but do less damage, you can tap damage someone and it will go up, as you can see. So my last tip is about Moira's range, and you probably don't realize that it's longer than you think. It's essentially the size of Hanamura Point B, and you can use your like left click heal and spray really quite far. Obviously your orb is like infinite range, but your left click can actually cover quite a long distance, as you can see from a third person view. First person, it doesn't look like it goes that far just by nature of the camera, but when you can see it from a different point of view, it really does go quite far. So this is a good thing to remember when you think that someone's out of your range. They probably aren't if they're relatively close to you, and that's also something you can use to stop using your fade to try and close the distance between people. You can just walk up a little bit and also keep your fade as well. So make sure you understand how big Moira's range is and use that to your advantage. So there's 5 underrated Moira tips for the current patch. I hope this has helped. If it has, drop a like, a sub, all that good stuff. And I stream live every day apart from Monday and Wednesday on Twitch at twitch.tv/I'mLuna, where I stream top 500 support gameplay, Moira, BAP, Ana. So feel free to come by and ask me any questions you might have, or just chill with the fam. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you soon.